with Ober's test, it may be something if you want to do limited testing parameters. I think you probably can do more with a Thomas test, and it requires a little bit less energy from me because gravity sort of the legs way down. And if you have a larger person, again, you know, lifting the weight of the legs so that they're passive and you're doing this as a passive test, can be a bit more energy on your behalf. The information that we can get from an Ober's test, we can see the amount of hip extension. We can see whether that hip extension range changes with changing knee flexion extension. So obviously that's going to affect the length of the rectus femoris across the hip, the knee, and it gives us an indication of the length change affecting the hip movement. And we can look at hip adduction as well. So the setup for this, you want to keep consistent. The bottom knee, bend up, and I want your arms out straight and around your top knee. That's your position there. Now, with your neural test, this starts to look like a passive knee flexion test. So be aware of head positioning. So if I want to make this a neural test, I can add cervical flexion extension into this test. But if I'm doing it as an Ober's test, I want head just neutral, not into extension, but neutral, and making sure, you know, they're not looking down at their knee or trying to see something. So inside lying, fixed arms, the position is fixed, pelvis position is fixed to be consistent each time. If you've got your arms straight, elbows extended. Head neutral, so it's not a neural test. My handling, I will go support the leg, hand under the knee, hip neutral, coming up and over. Where's your hip extension?
It's bad.
So we're coming, I'm being set up.
Okay. That was optional.
Yeah. So coming up and into slight abduction and then into neutral and feeling. And already I'm struggling to keep that knee 90 because you're so tight. So coming here, I can just feel this kicking out pressure there. So holding here. So really, we're probably getting to zero there. If I add in adduction, we're looking for the trunk starting to come with that, and you can see that sort of happens pretty. Try not to. Sorry, do I not?
Sorry.
Thank you. And come into adduction, you can see that happens pretty quickly, right? So hip extension. Now, if we do that in a straight knee position, does that make a difference to his hip extension range? Not dramatically, is that? And then if also if we go into hip adduction, does it make a difference to that range? Not hugely. So if it was rec fem that was limiting hip extension, you would expect less range in this position, just knee extended. So I changed my positioning with my hands because I was struggling to keep your knee flexed because it was quite strongly wanting to not be flexed. So if I go back to my original handling, if we do it this way and I've got it in knee flexion, I can feel that and then I can let it go and see if it feels different. And that's the immediate feedback. Yeah, it's a bit of difference there. Same with the knee flexed to extended. Potentially, you could say they get less range in extension. This one, we're taking out some of the tension of the ITB by flexing it, that should be more. So you want to reassess those two components, okay? But all the time I'm working really hard here to maintain that hip extended range, okay? So you can practice that if you like to.